Hello and welcome to Koakni Kitchen. Today we'll be making lamb nihari. Today the cut of meat that we're going to use are lamb shanks. This is because it's still on the bone, and when cooked slowly, as we are going to do today, it leads to very juicy and tender meat at the end. One thing to know about this recipe is, although it's a slow cook recipe, the preparation is just like any other recipe. It's just the cooking part, which is for 4 hours, that it's left aside. So for the ingredients, we'd like 1 kilo of lamb shanks. Try to get meaty pieces to add to the flavor. Then we'd like 2 teaspoons of red chili powder, 3 teaspoons of ginger and garlic paste, 1 onion, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. You can adjust this to your taste. Then half a teaspoon of sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of plain flour, and 150 milliliters of vegetable oils. Here we're using sunflower oil. For the spice mix, we'll be using 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds, 6 cardamom pods, 3 bay leaves, and 1 flower of Staranise, and 1.5 teaspoons of cumin seeds. Now this is the main flavor spice mix to bring out the taste in the nihari. For the garnish, we'll be using thinly sliced ginger pieces, some lime, some green chillies, and some coriander, and you can adjust this to tweak how you want the taste to be at the end. So this is the full ingredients list for you to see laid out on the workstation, ready to go. We'll now show you a written ingredients list so you can jot this down. Just one thing to note is that we'll be using approximately 1.5 liters of water throughout this recipe, so bear that in mind also. Right, so for the preparation of making this lamb nihari, we want to grind all of the spices that we had. Here we're using a dry grinder, and we want to get it into a fine consistency. If you can't or don't want to grind it, you can also find ready-made powder sachets of these spices in some stores. Alternatively, you can even buy ready-made nihari spice mixes from stores. Okay, so now for the fun part, the actual cooking of the dish. To begin with, add 100 milliliters of oil into the cooking pot. Then once it's heated up, add in the lamb shanks. Let this cook for a while until it develops a bit of color. Regularly stir the meat pieces so that it gets evenly seared and colored. Then you can add the ginger garlic paste. Once we add this paste, you want to stir this around in the oil as well so it spreads evenly. And this also allows the oil to absorb some of that ginger garlic paste flavor. Once you've mixed it around nicely, you can then go on to adding the red chili powder. Then we add the spice mix that we made and grinded earlier. Of course, each ingredients that we're adding here, you want to add the amount that was mentioned in the ingredients list earlier. Then we add some salt. You can adjust this to your taste, as we said. And then some sugar. Now that we've added all these spices in, make sure to give it a good stir so that all of the spices coat all of the meat. And remember to regularly keep stirring the pot. Keep cooking and stirring the meat until the oil begins to reduce and the spices are separating from the oil, like you see here. So here we need to add the 1.5 liters of water. Now, on top of being an essential part of the curry itself, what this also does in a way is it deglazes the pan. All of the spice and meat residue that was stuck to the pan, it brings it all into the mixture and it helps fuse it all together so it doesn't go to waste. Here we turn up the heat to full heat, put the lid on and let it boil for 5 minutes at this temperature. It is around this stage where we can really start to smell those beautiful flavours letting off that excellent aroma around the house. Once this has been cooking for 5 minutes on the boil, we then want to move the pot onto a medium-sized burner on the hob and leave it to cook like that on low heat for 4 hours. And this is a picture of our hob. The bottom right burner is the small one. The bottom left burner is the big burner that we're using to bring the nihari to the boil. The back two burners are the medium-sized burners, which is where we will leave the nihari to cook for the 4 hours, where we will be stirring it regularly in between. So after the 4 hours of cooking, we want to get approximately 2.5 teaspoons of plain flour and mix it with water to create a solution. Just remember to add the water slowly and little by little so that it doesn't create clumps. And here we're using a spoon, but you'll see soon we switch to using a whisk because a whisk is a better tool for this job. So we want it to get to a nice smooth consistency, as you can see here. That's when you know it's ready, when there's no clumps left inside. Okay, here we bring the pot back onto the big burner on the hob, and on high heat we want to start bringing this nihari to the boil. And as it's coming to the boil, we slowly add the mixture to the pot, and we want to keep stirring it so that it doesn't clump. Once it has come to the boil, then we take it off onto a medium-sized burner on low heat and let it simmer for half an hour. Now we will be preparing the garnish for the nihari. We begin with grating some onions so that we can fry it. This is traditionally referred to as the birista. Get 50 milliliters of oil up to medium to high heat. Then put the grated onion to fry carefully until it becomes golden brown. So once it's around this color, that's when you know it's ready. Next we move on to chopping the coriander, another part of our garnish. Then we move on to dicing up the limes and some green chillies as well. Just be careful with green chillies, make sure you wash your hands properly after you've cut them. So this is our garnish ready. We've just added some julienne cut ginger pieces to top it off. And now finally the moment we've all been waiting for, our tender, succulent, juicy lamb shank nihari is ready. And now we can apply the garnish and adjust this to how you want the taste to be and tweak it to your liking. This goes nicely when served with rice, chapatis, rotis, sliced bread, and also it goes excellently with naan. In this close-up with it being served with rice, you can see the gravy glistening off the shanks and the meat almost falling off the bone by itself. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, share it with your friends and family, and if you would like to see more cooking videos and recipes, please consider subscribing to our channel and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads that we make.